Welcome to the webinar, Branding, It's a Value Thing. So during this webinar, I'm going to be explaining to you the difference between beliefs and values, why knowing your values is essential to you in terms of success for your business, and also your business values and your client values and how important they are, and how to be conscious of your values and know how to use them to benefit your business, and how by knowing and actioning the things that you'll learn in the next hour you can make a massive difference to your business. So please feel free to grab a pen and paper. You may wish to note down some of the stuff while I'm going through it, or that might just be me because I'm a bit of a note-taking obsessive, although you may have some of those same traits yourself and you might want to just take a few notes while we're going through. So I want you to basically understand the difference between beliefs and values. So I'm going to cover each one, and I'm going to start with beliefs. So here we go. Joseph O'Connor and John Seymour said that beliefs are the generalizations that we make about ourselves, others, and the world, and our operating principles within it. Beliefs act as self-fulfilling prophecies that influence all our behaviors. So, in other words, beliefs are generalizations that our unconscious mind makes from the experiences that we've had so far in our lives. That we form opinions on those when we generalize about the stuff that we've experienced. We tend to form our beliefs from watching and learning from our peers, our mentors, and of course from society as a whole, because that has a big influence on us. They can also be drummed into us from other people. Think of cults that you might have heard of, or maybe a recommendation is a good example. So, for example, Joe said that the food in this certain restaurant is brilliant. So, therefore, because I trust Joe, I then have a belief that that food is great. Maybe I've experienced it myself, maybe I haven't, but I may have formed a belief on the fact that I trust somebody else and what they say. So, but more often than not, they're based on something we've experienced, and they massively affect our behaviour, because they have a nasty habit, or not always nasty, sometimes it's a nasty habit, but they have a habit of making us think that we can or cannot do something, and they're completely changeable, as you can experience something new and that can completely change your belief. So, for example, you may have had a bad experience, you may have a fear of public speaking. This could be because you had a bad experience speaking in front of class at school, or maybe just because so many people have a fear of public speaking. I think it's now one of the top fears, and it's probably even above death in an American poll that they did once, which is just crazy. So many people experience it as something new and out of your comfort zone. So it's really easy to say that you have a belief that you're unable to speak in public, which obviously is not actually true or a fact. It's just a belief, and one that can be changed, because you can either see a professional and have a belief change session done, or you can do good old-fashioned practice. I don't know any speakers who didn't start off when they first started speaking in public feeling scared or nervous when they first stepped out onto the stage. Beliefs can be empowering. Don't you love it when you get feelings like, I can do it, or this business is going to be a great success, or people love what I do, or I give great value? When you truly believe those things, they are fantastic, make you feel great. But they can also be unempowering and pretty rubbish, when instead you have your mind telling you really unhelpful things like, I don't think I can do it, what if they don't like it, I just don't know where to start, or I'm a failure. They can be big time unempowering, and that is not helpful for anyone at all. In fact, there's a great example of this in a little short story that I would like to tell you. So, several summers ago, a teacher was sitting on a seawall resting after a long hike along a coastal path. She was eating a sandwich and observing what was happening on the beach, and she spotted two little boys about 6 years old playing together. They'd been running around for a while, having fun, and now, a little tired from their activities, they sat down near the teacher and began talking. Perhaps they'd just met, as children do on holiday. Regardless when or where they met, they had a lot to talk about. And finally, one said to the other, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm going to be a brain surgeon. And the other said, gosh, I don't really know. I've never thought about it. I'm not very bright, you know. The wind took the rest of the conversation away, and the teacher was left wondering where that second little boy had developed that limiting belief about himself. Probably from another teacher or a parent. At the age of 6, if he doesn't change that belief, or if someone else doesn't help him to change it, it will affect the rest of his life, limiting his sense of possibility and holding back his potential. So that's a good example that beliefs are not true. They are constructs around which we organise our behaviours. So we each behave as if our beliefs were true. And for this reason, all of our beliefs come true, because beliefs, whether empowering or unempowering or limiting, are self-fulfilling prophecies. So we make them happen. When we believe something, it becomes real because we believe that it's true. So without going into beliefs much further, because beliefs are a massive subject, which I could cover all on their own, but that at least gives you an idea of what a belief is. So now I can move on to values. Now, values are part of who we are. They're part of our makeup. They're our moral compass, if you will. We base our decisions on what our values are, and every person's values are 100% unique to them. You'll find that the happiest and most successful people in the world, whether they're consciously doing it or unconsciously doing it, are living very much in tune with their highest values. Because when you know or are in tune with your own values, it makes so much easier to make a decision. We have the right or wrong questions for things. When you have stuff happen in business, you've got to make a really tough decision. Knowing what's important for you will help make your decision that much easier. I'll give you a little bit of an example. Let's say you're a health and fitness company and you're a bit of a guru when it comes to nutrition. Now, some of your values might include integrity, education and contribution, helping others with their health and fitness journey, and of course being a trusted professional giving good advice. There are heaps of supplement companies out there, and if you were approached by a company to promote their products and there was a good financial incentive for you, here's where you would check in with your values. Is the money or the product more important for you? Now, my guess is, and I have friends who have dealt with this exact scenario, that the quality of the product is going to be the most important thing for you, as your name will be associated with it and your clients are trusting you to give them good advice. So you ask yourself, is this product something I can heartily and genuinely recommend to my clients, and does it fit with my values? Now, if the answer is no, which I'm guessing it would be in this case, then it looks like the financial rewards will have to be passed over on this occasion. If you were going to go against your values and say yes, then you would find that you would get feelings of discomfort, awkwardness, perhaps even embarrassment or guilt when it came to promoting the product, which is not conducive to a happy business or a happy you. Now, it's super important to be living in line with your own values as well, rather than living via other people's values, which may sound a bit strange. Certainly I found that it was a bit strange when I first heard it, because I thought, how on earth can you be living by somebody else's values? Because that surely is crazy and unable to happen. But I'll give you an example. So I knew a guy who was at uni. He was halfway through on his way to being a doctor, and he'd been obviously studying doctor stuff, doing all of his bits that he needed to do all the way along, and he'd always had this focus that he was going to be a doctor. But he just wasn't feeling very happy about everything. He was feeling a little bit stuck. He was doing really well, he was getting great grades, but he just wasn't feeling very happy. When he looked into it with a little bit more depth, he couldn't really figure out why he wasn't feeling motivated. But then he discovered that he wasn't living by his own values. He was actually living by his parents' values, because they had always encouraged him in the direction of being a doctor, because they had their own values and that fit with them. Things like security. Being a doctor is it's a stereotypical, it's a great job. You've got security in the fact that you've always got a job there once you're a doctor. You get a good wage. It's well respected within the community. Loads of all of these sorts of things which his parents had drummed into him, but actually those sorts of things were not his values. His values were more about creativity and adventure. He was a bit of a dreamer. So once he realised that actually that was the case, he actually made the decision to leave uni, and he's not looked back, because he's able to now go out and he's happy and he's able to make a success of himself doing things that fit with his values. And whether that is someone else's class of success, it doesn't matter, because that's what makes him happy, and it's about you. It's about living with your own values. Now, values tend to bring up some pretty high emotional responses because they're a core part of who you are. And going back to being your moral compass, they are your moral decisions. So a lot of values will be your moral standpoint on things. So you're going to feel quite strongly about them, and you're going to feel it right deep inside you. So if something goes against that value, you're going to get a deep emotional response to it. So going a little bit deeper, there are lots of different aspects of our lives where values have a relevance. So I tend to go for these 8 as being the ones to focus on. So we've got romance, me time, personal development, career, spirituality, health and fitness, money, relationships. And you can see I've got a nice little circle up there to show you how they all fit together. So in an ideal world, all of these areas should be balanced in terms of how happy you are with them now. If I were to ask you to give each one a score from 1 being not happy at all to 10 being the most happy you could possibly be, how happy would you say you are right now with each one? Now, the importance of this exercise is that it's not a race, and you don't have to be on 10 for everything. The key is finding a balance for your circle. I'd suggest that if you have scores below 7, that those particular areas are ones that you might want to give some attention to. But we also want to be getting to a point where you feel each segment is balanced with all of the others. So ending up with a circle where everything is around an 8 or a 9 or even a 10 would be amazing, would mean that you are feeling really balanced and happy with each of these areas, and that will have a significant effect on your life in terms of happiness and drive and positivity. And everything really, because that is what life is made of, and each of these areas are going to be incredibly important, some more than others to you, but the key obviously is about being balanced with it all. So what are values? So here's where we go a little bit deeper into finding your own values. You should by now have a rough idea of the areas where your values are, so let me ask you some questions to take this a step further. Feel free to write them down and take a closer look at them later on, because we are obviously going to go over them reasonably fast now, but this will give you a good idea and hopefully give you a little bit of a chance to just think about it a little bit. So, what do you want more of in your business? What do you want less of? What would you like your business to be best known for? What is absolutely essential to you? In your wildest imaginings, what would you really like to happen? Now, each of these things, you're going to find aspects of them that link to a value, and we're going to go into that in a little more detail in a moment. So some words that you might find would fit with some of your values might be integrity, connection, respect, security, power, adventure, freedom, courage, love, honesty, and contribution. And there are loads of other ones as well. The important thing is, once that you've worked out what values are that are important to you, is making sure that you live in tune with them. So when you're working in line with your values and towards your values, then this is the path to greater success, better health, happiness, security. Obviously, if security is something that you value, it's the freedom of choice. You might feel like a weight is lifted, or generally like life is just that little bit easier to cope with. This is because you're being true to yourself. However, when you're working or doing things that are against or away from your values, then you'll find it will often end in failure, stress, indecision, maybe a feeling of being trapped, or like you've just got a really heavy weight weighing down on you. This is because you're not stepping into your own power, but instead bowing to live and work in line with other people's values and expectations. The good news is that now you're aware of this, you can take action to make some positive changes, and you can do that straight away. Something you need to consider about values is that if you want to achieve success in business, happiness in life, and a strong identity for both yourself and your business, then you need to be living and working in line with your highest values. Not only that, but you also need to consider your business's own values. In effect, personifying your business and knowing what it stands for. After all, how on earth are your clients going to get passionate about your business if they have absolutely no clue what the business stands for and what it values? And even more so, have you ever considered your clients' values? After all, they are the people who make and break your business. You are creating products and services to solve their problems and give them what they want. But if they have no idea why they need it and how it works in terms of their values, how are you going to be able to really effectively market yourself to them in a way that really connects with them and turns them from a one-time client into a passionate advocate for your business? Time to do some work on your values, I think. So, what makes you tick? The important thing is to get clear. So I want you to think of your business and I want you to ask yourself, what is important? And then what is it about this that is important? What else is important about this? And from those questions, you should be able to drill down and work out at least one of what your values is. I'll give you an example. So what is important? I want a big office. And what else is important about that? What is important about that is it would be impressive and businesslike. And what else is important? It would mean I'm successful. So my core values could be achievement, security, comfort. You might have completely different values pop up in your head when I've said the above, but that just demonstrates the point that your values are 100% unique to you. I could say the same words and each one of you would find a different meaning from them. So I implore you to do some work on your own values, find out what they are for you and in your own life and for your own business and for your clients. And once you know them, you can start to promote them and live and work in line with them. Let your clients know what you stand for. Let everybody know what you stand for. And be proud about it. Shout it from the rooftops. Because you're never going to be liked by everybody. But by creating a strong, clear message, you will be loved by your followers and they will be really loyal to you because they get you and your business fits with their values. Look at the Body Shop or the People Tree. Ethical companies like these are really clear about what they stand for and they don't back down on what's important. They work all of their marketing and promotion around things that fit with their values and they have a very strong following. It's a bit of a Marmite thing a lot of the time. People will love you or hate you, but that's so much better than bumbling along in the grey area in the middle and not creating a passionate response from anyone. So, action points to take away from today. Know your own values. Know your own business values. Know your perfect client's values. Use these to create a strong identity. And when you do this, you will feel and be awesome. So, that's it from me at the moment. If you'd like to be more proactive with your business, then you can check out the Holistic Branding Hub, where you'll have access each month to different topics and we can work on areas like values, goal setting, my perfect client profiles and lots more. You can also get in touch with me as I have a series of different workshops online, one including which is called Working with Values, which basically covers some of what we've spoken about today and actually looks into further detail of actually working on your own values so you can come away from that knowing what your values are and obviously being able to use that with the other things that you do. And you can find information about those on my website, sophiejewry.com. So you can connect with me there, you can connect with me on social media, and you can send me an email to sophie@sophiejewry.com and that will come through to me. So if you've got any questions at all, please feel free to get in touch. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd also love to hear how you're getting on with using your values in your business after this session today. So I look forward to hearing from you, and have a great time in your business.